Once upon a time, in a lovely and beautiful village full of laughter and sunshine, there lived a woman named Akua. Akua was not just any woman, she was the village hairdresser. Everyone in the village loved her because she could twist and transform their hair into magnificent styles. She had a daughter named Mama, who was as bright as the morning sun. Mama, Akua's daughter, was a young girl with a heart as pure as the clear stream in the village. Her smile could light up the darkest room, and her laughter was contagious. Mama loved to watch her mother work and learned to braid hair by observing Akua's quick finger movements. Even though she was still young, Mama started helping her mother with simple hairstyles, and the villagers adored her for her kindness and the perfect little braids she could create. Life had not always been easy for Akua and Mama. Akua's husband and Mama's father had passed away a few years ago, leaving them to face the world alone. But Akua was strong, and she loved her daughter more than anything. She worked hard every day to ensure they had enough to eat and that Mama could have a happy life full of laughter and love. The villagers respected Akua not only for her talent with hair but also for the way she raised Mama. Everyone could see the love and respect between mother and daughter. They often said, "Look at Akua and Mama, what beautiful bonds they share. It's like the warmth of the sun on a cool morning." Thus, amidst the mango trees and under the vast African sky, Akua and Mama lived their lives, weaving not only hair but also the stories of all who came to sit with them. The village was their home, and they found joy, friendship, and the strength to face each new day together. As time went by, the small village under the great African sky saw many seasons change. Mama grew into a beautiful young woman, like a flower blooming in the sun. But something else changed. Mama, who used to listen to her mother, began to walk to her own beat. She stopped helping Akua with hair braiding, and her once kind words became sharp. She wanted her mother to do everything for her, forgetting the bond they shared. Akua's heart was heavy, like a cloud ready to rain. She tried to talk to Mama to remind her of the love, respect, and kindness they once shared. But Mama, like a river, flowed on her own path, far from her mother's words. The tightly woven fabric of their lives began to unravel, opening the way to a story of growth, choices, and lessons to be learned. Akua, the hairdresser, worried greatly for her daughter. She saw that Mama was no longer listening and was not as kind as before. Akua tried to talk to her. She said, "Mama, my child, don't forget to be kind, to listen well, and to help others. It is good for the heart." But Mama turned her back and sometimes even spoke harsh words to her mother, which made Akua very sad. One sunny day, with the sky as clear as the stream near the village, Ronnie came to visit. Ronnie was Akua's sister, and she lived in another town, not too far but not too close either. Ronnie had heard stories about Mama and wanted to see for herself. When Ronnie arrived, Mama showed no respect. She did not kneel to greet Ronnie or even offer her water to drink. Ronnie was surprised and displeased. She talked to Akua about it. She said, "Akua, Mama has grown wings too big. She needs to relearn respect and kindness," declared Ronnie. After seeing how Mama behaved, Ronnie had an idea. "Let Mama come with me to the city. It might teach her good manners," suggested Ronnie. Akua was afraid at first because she knew Ronnie was very strict. But deep in her heart, Akua hoped this might help Mama. So, she said yes. Mama was happy to go. She thought, "I will see new places and have fun." She packed her things, not knowing that this journey was more about learning than pleasure. The next morning, with her bag packed, Mama left with Ronnie for the city, leaving Akua behind, hoping that her daughter would find her way back to being the kind and loving Mama she once knew. Mama and Ronnie arrived in the city, a place buzzing like a hive, with new sights and sounds for Mama. Ronnie's house was different from the cozy hut in the village. It was larger, with more rooms and a gate that creaked when opened. At first, Mama was like a mouse, quiet and cautious. She helped Ronnie around the house, sweeping the yard and going to the market. Ronnie was strict, and Mama didn't dare to say no. She remembered her mother's gentle face and thought, maybe being helpful is a good thing. But soon, Mama met girls in the city. These girls walked with their heads held high and wore clothes that made everyone stare. They talked about fun things like dances and parties. Mama's eyes sparkled. She thought, this is the fun I was missing. Her new friends showed Mama how to dress like them, with bright clothes very different from what she wore in the village. They laughed and shared secrets, and Mama felt she belonged to this new family. She began to forget her mother's and Ronnie's lessons. She loved the attention she got when she walked down the street, feeling like a peacock with its feathers fully spread. Ronnie noticed the change in Mama. She saw the new clothes and the late nights. Ronnie shook her head and said, "Mama, remember who you are. Don't lose yourself." But Mama's ears were filled with the laughter and music of her new friends. She couldn't hear Ronnie's words, thinking only of the next fun thing to do, drifting further from the lessons of kindness and respect she once knew. Then one day, something surprising happened. When her aunt had guests, Mama was supposed to greet them and help out. But Mama wanted to show she could make her own choices. So, she didn't greet them as she was supposed to. She asked, "Why should I greet them first? They can also greet me." Everyone was very surprised and didn't know what to say. Ronnie's friends were shocked because all the children in the city were usually very polite. Ronnie was very upset to see Mama behave this way in front of her friends. After the guests left, Ronnie told Mama she could no longer stay with her because she wouldn't listen and learn. "You must go back to your mother," she said. "I can't help you if you don't want to learn." Mama packed her things, feeling both angry and excited. She was returning to her village where everyone paid her a lot of attention. Mama returned to her village after some time with Ronnie, but she was no longer the same Mama who had left. She entered the village like a fresh breeze, but this breeze was different, strong, and surprising. She wore clothes that made all the villagers' eyes widen. The villagers whispered and pointed. "Is that Mama?" they wondered. She looked so different. Mama walked with her head high, enjoying the stares and whispers. She thought it meant she was special, that she stood out from the others. When Akua, Mama's mother, saw her daughter, her heart sank like a stone in water. She rushed to cover Mama with a large, white cloth, asking, "Why are you dressed like this, my child?" But Mama pushed the cloth away, saying, "This is how we dress in the city. It's fashionable." Akua's eyes filled with worry. She knew the village wouldn't understand, and she feared what this change meant for her daughter. That night, Akua sat with Mama, trying to bridge the gap that had formed between them. "Mama, my dear, why have you changed so much?" Mama was defiant. "Mother, I like it. It makes me feel good." And everyone looks at me, she responded, seeing the worry in her mother's eyes. Akua stayed awake that night, her heart heavy with concern. She thought about the respect and values she had tried to instill in Mama, which now seemed erased like footprints in the sand. Akua feared what this meant for Mama's future, how the village would treat her, and the path she was choosing to follow. Mama's return had stirred a storm of emotions in Akua's heart, and she wondered how they would overcome this together. As days turned into weeks, Mama's love for attention grew like wildfire. She enjoyed the stares and whispers from the men in the village, feeling like a queen in her own little kingdom. She cared less and less about what her mother, Akua, or anyone else said. Mama thought, I am special. Everyone loves me. But the love she thought she saw wasn't real. It was a shadow that disappeared at sunset. Akua warned her, Mama, this path is slippery. Be careful. But Mama's ears were close to her mother's words. She believed in the sweet talk of the admirers whispering in her ears under the moonlight, not seeing the danger in their fleeting moments. It wasn't long before Mama started sleeping with the rich men in the village in exchange for money, showing off her body with revealing dresses. Her mother was not happy because the village women constantly talked about Mama's disobedience and how she used her body to take their husbands. Then one morning, Mama's world seemed to spin around her. She felt sick, and everything changed. Mama was pregnant. Fear gripped her heart. Who is the father? She wondered, her mind racing through the faces of the men she had been with. She tried to find answers, but every door closed in her face. The men who had once chased her turned away, saying, We want nothing to do with this. Akua was very sad and said to Mama, I warned you, but you didn't listen. Mama felt terrible and ran to her room to cry. She knew she had made huge mistakes and began to regret them. But deep down, she didn't want to believe everything was ruined. Mama knew she needed help, so she went to the men she had been with, hoping one of them would want to help her and the baby. But when she went to them, they all turned her away. The rich men said they already had families and couldn't help her. The young and handsome men didn't want to believe the baby could be theirs. They all said, Why would we marry someone like you? What kind of lessons would you teach our child? To become a woman of low value? Or to dress indecently as you do? Feeling truly downcast, Mama thought maybe the village drunkard would claim the baby was his. But even he said no. He told her, the way you dress and behave made us notice you. But that's not what we want in a woman. We were just having fun. Now, Mama felt truly alone. Even the drunkard wouldn't help her. She realized all her mother's and Ronnie's warnings were true. Mama felt lonelier than ever. The village whispers turned into loud judgments. Her city friends were nowhere to be found. Even the light in her mother's eyes seemed dimmed by disappointment and worry. The rejection was a cold shower on Mama's fiery spirit. She became aware of the cost of her choices, the weight of her actions. She had sought attention, but now she craved invisibility. The village, once her stage, had become a prison of stares and whispers. Mama, having nowhere else to turn, returned to her mother's hut. Despite her disappointment, Akua opened her arms to her daughter. Mama cried, I'm sorry, Mother. I didn't listen, but those words were of little comfort against the harsh reality of her situation. The consequences of her choices had caught up with her, leaving her facing an uncertain future and the bitter lesson that certain kinds of attention come at a very high price. Mama then found herself at a crossroads. With the village whispering behind her back and the weight of her choices bearing down on her shoulders, she looked into the mirror of her life and did not recognize the reflection staring back at her. Her heart, once light and joyful, now carried the burden of regret. Acknowledging her mistakes was like shedding a heavy load for Mama. She decided to leave the village, not to run away from her problems, but to learn, grow, and return as the Mama her mother had raised her to be. She packed her belongings, her heart filled with a mix of sadness and hope. Mama's departure was marked by silence, with only Akua bidding her farewell. She didn't know where her journey would lead, but she carried with her the lessons of the past and the hope for a better future. Mama traveled far, to a place where no one knew her story. She started walking again, learning, and most importantly, reflecting on the person she wanted to become. Mama's story became one of reflection and redemption. It became a tale whispered in the village, reminding everyone that obedience is a great virtue and that dressing indecently just to attract attention often leads to undesired outcomes. For no responsible man would marry someone whose body had been seen by all or who had borne a child out of wedlock. Thus, our story ends, not with a goodbye, but with the promise of a new beginning, a reminder that it's never too late to change our story. I hope you enjoyed this tale. If you did, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting stories like this. Goodbye.